All right, we're here with Kat Cunning after a incredible performance. First of all, thank you so much for the
My
performance.
pleasure.
I was having the time of my life back there, so thank you.
You guys were vibing. I really appreciated it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a huge party compared to a year of being in quarantine. This is so lit in
Oh
here.
yeah. And also, well, first thing I wanted to ask too, because you talked about playing Pride this morning too, and you just had so much energy today throughout this whole thing. And how do you keep your energy up for live performances?
It's a lie. It's fake. It's all fake. I'm half asleep in my mind. No, if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm very ADD, and I think that's a real thing. And what I learned when I was really young is that ADD people can pay attention when their adrenaline is spiked.
Really?
Yeah, and my adrenaline gets spiked when I do stuff I love, or when I'm really angry.
That too.
I got 2 hours of sleep, and I performed Pride, and I saw the gays in the streets. I could stay up for 3 days now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like at the sight of that, like I could stay up forever. I feel like
So joyful. The dykes on the bikes. I was like, take me wherever you're going. You are my hero.
That's amazing. And also kind of being in New York and kind of getting your start musically here. How do you think that has affected your career in total? Just having this environment to be around.
Oh my God, so hugely. I feel like it's almost like, I feel like it's very rare now that that's the case, because you can make music in your basement and totally pop off on TikTok.
Yeah, totally.
And so I am really, really grateful for the fact that I cut my teeth in like New York clubs and stuff. It definitely informed me, although you can't really tell by this set today, it definitely made my taste in art a lot darker. I love a dingy nightclub with a bunch of freaks, and I love to just be slow and sexy. So that definitely informed like that side of my art. And it also just like let me learn how to sing while performing. Like I learned that I can get away with being a bad singer as long as I'm committing, which like don't quote me on that based on whatever I did today. Don't judge me, but
Well, I mean, I was gonna say all that. I mean, all that learning paid off because you sounded great and like you also were moving everywhere. So I mean, I think over time, I feel like that's something that a lot of artists have a lot of trouble with, especially when you're a solo singer and you're up there and you have to kind of keep this sort of even like not even choreography, but keep some movement up there and keep some energy up there, but also use your voice in the way that you want to use it. And how is like that process of getting to that place for you and getting to kind of where you are now with your talent and skill?
that's actually a really good question, but I think that it is sort of the opposite. This is actually way harder for me, where I feel like I kind of should stay still because there's a camera and like there isn't an audience. It's so much easier for me to move and sing because I connect my breath to moving. And like, honestly, I sing the best belted notes when I'm like in an arch or lunging. Like, I think that if anybody is like learning how to sing, use your body, because your breath comes from like every part of your body. It's way harder to stand and sing for me.
Oh yeah, really interesting. Can you?
Makes me very nervous.
I feel like a lot of people also rehearse like singing like back on the ground and whatnot. Have you tried that before?
I guess I like sing a little bit everywhere. So probably when waking up in the morning or going to bed at night. Yeah, but no, I haven't tried it as an exercise.
And kind of speaking of different vocal techniques, I did read something, and I want you to let me know if it's true, number one. And second of all, let me know what your experience was like, if it was true. I read that you got some experience through a Baroque opera. What was that like?
That was the very first company that I started singing in. And it's a very cool company called Company XIV. And it's created by somebody who studied Baroque dance and also like went to Juilliard for dance, and then created a performance company that like added new talents to it every day. And all I wanted was to keep my job as a dancer. So I told him I could sing, because everyone else could like hang from the ceiling and dance and like, like lay on a bed of nails and dance. And I was like, I don't know, I can sing. and it went well for me, but it was a really ideal place, speaking of like New York nightclubs and stuff, to learn, because it was this really gorgeous, opulent, like high-end production that helped me believe in the magic when I stepped on stage. Like I literally got to sing my own cover of Drunken Love with a curtain of glitter rain falling down on me while I stripped, and then I danced in the glitter with sweat all over my body. It was an iconic, like I got to basically be at the Super Bowl from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, it's everything is just downhill from that first moment.
Right. It started strong over here.
Every time that I play a gig, I'm like, can you provide a glitter curtain or not? arrangements of songs.
Wow.
So my very first solo I ever sang was "Ain't No Sunshine."
Ah, love that.
What a dream.
That's great.
But yeah, this was like, it was a really cool way to have to just jump from like not ever doing anything to just, I sort of treated it like an actor. I was like, well, I have to sing for this role. And it's just like make believe can get you so far in learning how to do something you're scared to do.
Mm-hmm. And when you started singing for the first time and kind of putting yourself in that space vocally too, how did you really develop your style? And how did you develop your voice? And kind of what did you see that was there? And how did you kind of invest in that?
I was actually thinking about this today because a friend of mine who had a very similar path as mine, who actually like came in to understudy me in that very show that I first sang in, she came to see me today at the parade and was like, I'm just so proud of you because I know you made this all for yourself. And I was just thinking, like, I literally did learn how to sing on the job. And so I feel like my style, I still totally have like imposter syndrome and think that I have a very, very small voice. And I think that I'm always very pitchy. And I just like, I'm very insecure about singing, but it also is like what excites me because as compared to dance, I was so hyper trained in dance. I always knew exactly when I was doing well and when I wasn't. And it was sort of like, I stopped being nervous, which I think is a problem. Music still really makes me so nervous, and I think that means that I like love it and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, like I feel like my style has sort of crept up on me because I still think I sing very small, and in doing that I try to sing bigger, and I think like I just have learned how to do stuff. Like I only started taking singing lessons in this last year, and I'm learning how to like properly hit some of these notes, which is really exciting. But yeah, I think it was literally just being on the job and like have a sort of weird accent and I'm just finding my way around vowels in my body.
Yeah, that's really exciting, is kind of exploring that for you too, and kind of getting to use your voice in ways that you like didn't think you could before, which is, and it's honestly super impressive also that you were able to just kind of pick it up and go with it, and pick it up at first as kind of like an actor and then kind of really lean into it. And at what point did you decide, okay, like I've been singing at this club for a while and I've been doing like performative things in addition to dance. At what point did you decide, okay, like I feel like singing is the next step for me, and I feel like making my own music is really the next place I want to see myself?
I got a huge endorsement from the New York Times who saw the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, where is this person's album? And that made me just like, as an external endorsement, made me feel like, okay, I should try. And writing came very natural to me. I feel more comfortable as a writer than I do as a singer because the only thing I did my whole life besides dance was write poetry.
Oh,
so I get very
cool.
excited about this, and I did spoken word for a second.
No way!
Yeah,
that's
like,
awesome. I
so
love
the
that.
structure of like songs and use of words in music is really exciting to me, and so yeah, I just kind of started doing it, and I'm lucky as long as people want to listen to my songs, I'll keep making them.
That's great. And from poetry to lyrics, I imagine the transition was pretty easy for you to then do if you were doing all the spoken word. And did any of your poems ever become songs?
The very first song I ever improv'd is Eve, and I ended up releasing it. It literally have like an iPhone, or not an iPhone, a computer, like the photo booth.
Oh yeah,
video
like an old Mac computer with photo booth.
Improving like a structureless lyric. It's a very weird video for sure.
Yeah.
Hope nobody ever gets their hands on it. But then I just like took it to a pianist, and he like helped me put chords to it. And yeah, that song came to fruition, and I really love it, and I totally stand by the lyric.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Did you put a roller coaster background on the photo booth?
I wish I had done that. I wish I did the one where like your face is fat, your face is skinny, your face is upside down, your face is doubled. That would have been really lit.
And when you really started getting, well, actually, even before you started singing and kind of before you got into that, what was your first relationship like with music in general and just getting into it and listening to it yourself recreationally?
I was thinking about this again recently, right before I was going to go on stage. I'm in a show right now where I like come up on a stage that rises. So I start the show squatting and hiding very nervously. But I was thinking, because I was like in this position that was very like modern dance, and I was like, I need to go back to like the way I used to listen to music as a dancer. So like, I don't know, my music taste is super eclectic because it's whatever made me want to move. But in large part, music that puts me in my feels, like kind of indie stuff that makes me want to move for a long time. Yeah, I was trying to think of a song that I covered, but I can't remember what it is. It's Orange Sky.
Oh,
and
cool.
the original of Orange Sky by Lexi Murdoch is a great example of like a 5-minute song that just makes me want to dance and I want to keep it on loop. And so I think like largely I respond to music as a mover. And as a kid, I was kind of dorky and like actually just loved classical music.
That's actually wonderful. I love that. And especially, I feel like that kind of makes sense to me in how your music sounds to me, in that kind of it's very dance driven, or it feels like, I don't know, it kind of is very clear that like this was made by somebody that also dances and like wants to dance to this song.
Yes, thank you. I literally, like, when I saw Florence and the Machine play the Grammys with like contemporary dancers lying on the floor and stuff, I was like, oh, I can make like mainstream music that involves fine art, like high art dance and weird stuff. And so, yeah, I definitely like selfishly make music that I want to choreograph to.
That's really cool. And when you first got started making music, you came out with a Baby in 2017.
Yeah, deep cut.
Yeah, and I was wondering what, I don't know, what got you there? What got you to your first song and releasing that, and how was the writing process and everything?
I had one, like my very first writing trip, I wrote like 10 songs with the first person who ever like literally plucked me off of the stage and was like, I write music, come to my studio. And I was like, sure, totally naively. And I wrote a bunch of songs trying to find myself, and they were all very organic, but I wrote to a couple of tracks by this guy called Nikolai in Germany. And I just really responded to like the spooky semi-electronic vibe of Baby and Wild Poppies.
Yes.
I wrote those both in the first writing trip ever. And I think that Baby, especially because in the shows that I was in, I was singing a lot of like Lana Del Rey and like Drunken Love stuff that was like, I used my falsetto a lot, and it was super, super delicate. So Baby was just like a continuation of that vibe that I was like really enjoying living in my head voice. And I also was really inspired by a great song by Gabriel Garzon Montano called 6-8 that like the lyrics are just really infantile and vulnerable. He's just like, rock me real slowly, just like a baby. And I was just like, the feeling when you're just like, I need somebody to take care of me. And I think at the time, like, the city was starting to weigh on me, and like my life trying to pay rent and just being on the subway. Like I think I mentioned taking the train and losing my keys, and just like basically being an ADD person who struggles with normal life things all the time. I was just like, somebody take care of me. And that song came out. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. I love the inspiration behind that too. And it really fits. And also, what you talked about Wild Poppies too, and a few of your first other singles. What about those? What kind of drew you to those songs and making those?
What are the other ones? Well, I can talk about Wild Poppies.
Yeah, Wild Poppies.
I've been obsessed with The Wizard of Oz since I was a child. My mother printed out the script, last revised in 1939, and I memorized it from top to bottom like a real freak and would just say it to myself at home all the time. And I think a lot of queer people are inspired by or drawn towards Judy Garland and or The Wizard of Oz because it's such a story of like, I've literally heard queer people say that coming out feels like seeing color for the first time. And that movie was so epic because it was one of the first Technicolor films. They literally hand painted the frames to be color. She literally leaves her like drab home life to go find her chosen family. Like it couldn't be gayer. And I wanted to rewrite a version where she doesn't go back home. So this is sort of like, I love to take fairy tales and flip them and make them gay and dark. And in this version, the Wild Poppies, the Wild Poppy Field, where the witch sprinkles whatever that dust is, drugs probably.
Definitely like
drugs.
LSD.
Yeah, tons of drugs and keeps her there forever.
Yeah,
but in my version, it's a love story and they're so happy, so she never goes home.
And the other singles I guess I was referring to is Make You Stay and Stay on the Line as well. And
I'm loving that you're bringing out my deep cuts. I haven't talked about these songs like in so long. I love it.
I love talking about the beginnings, and I love like just getting into all of that. So are you able to tell me about kind of what the, also like in addition to like the fairy tale and like the Wizard of Oz angle, what themes were you really approaching with those songs as well?
I think since they were just some of my first songs ever, I was still just trying to honor whatever concept came to my mind when I got the blessed opportunity to be in a studio to write a song. Stay on the Line I wrote when I finally met the German producer Nikolai in Germany in Berlin.
Cool.
And one of the things is I knew that I wanted to make people have sex to my music. I'm very sex positive. I want people to do it. I just believe that's the music that I like. It's music I want to have sex to. So Make You Say My Name Again is just like a little bit of my like bossy dom energy, but in like a super magical theatrical falsetto world. That's like very R&B influenced. Me too. And then the Stay on the Line is about phone sex. I think I just like I get excited by concepts and milking the shit out of them.
Yeah,
which
totally.
brings me to the next chapter of songs, Birds.
Yes.
Which is literally just like I was like I have a bird tattoo. It's the first tattoo I got when I was like.
I noticed that. I was like, oh,
I'm a
bird.
total cliche. I'm from Oregon, and like they say in Portlandia, put a bird on it. I did that. I did that right away.
They put a bird on it.
But the metaphor of birds like really speaks to me, and like from like the whole gamut of what they stand for: a bird in a cage, a bird with a voice, like. I got shit on by a bird and it was lucky. Like
yeah, right. The song of a bird song. What is that?
Just like wanting
tweeting.
to fly,
yes.
to be free, tweeting.
Yes.
Yeah, I just felt like I was haunted by the concept of birds, but I think that might be the truth of like any young person who's walking around in a female body. It just like happens to you from ages like 13 to 17.
Yeah.
Birds just resonate with you for some reason. And I really wanted to like take that metaphor and really get it. I wrote like I can be very indulgent with metaphor though. I wrote like a 7-minute poem about eggs. And it's good. I'm not gonna lie.
I would love to read it.
No, nobody can ever see that poem.
Fair enough.
It's amazing, but
I will never see
honestly,
egg poem.
it would be so good.
I'll be thinking about egg poem for a long time after this.
It would be so good that my music career would be put to bed. People would be like, "Kat, please write more food poems." I would have to fully switch up my career, and I don't want to do that.
Don't have time for that right now.
Yeah, too many things I'm super good at. Food poems.
And you talked earlier too about how you kind of had this position of writing darker music, and which I really appreciate and I really love, especially King of Shadows, which you performed tonight. I would love to talk to you about what was the inspiration for that song and kind of what brought you to make something like that. Because you also mentioned about wanting to make things that were like slow and sexy, and that kind of really gave me that kind of feeling. So yeah, what went into that song?
Yeah, I really do stand by King of Shadows. So thanks for saying that. King of Shadow is one of the ones where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say everything I could possibly say. I'm not gonna write the most epic poem ever. I'm just gonna make a love thing. And I think in the back of my mind, I had also been wanting to express like my masculine side in a way unbeknownst to me at the time. And I knew I wanted to do a song with a male pronoun, like a king. And shadow was pretty obvious dark imagery. But yeah, I just started writing it on like a folk guitar with Kyle Kelso, and it was a really beautiful, super delicate song. And then I sat on that song for a little while, and I was like, I think I could like sing this bigger. I think this could be more epic. And so we went back in with my girlfriend at the time, who was an amazing drummer, and we like laid that down, and my friend came in and played some cello on it, and we just like made it bigger and more epic. And I'm so glad we did, because I think that was one of the first songs that I like let myself sing out more than I intended to on.
Yeah.
And it's really, I love the chorus of the song performing it live. It's really fun.
And you mentioned, especially in King of Shadows, the masculinity angle and kind of working that. And I'm wondering what role does self-expression play in all of your music, and how do you really inject that into your songs?
Nothing's not self-expression in my music. I don't ever write from like stories outside of myself. It's a fully like cathartic experience for me to take whatever I've carried around or whatever's like fallen into the trash can of my brain and to like put it out, put it out in some way and just kind of trust that. But yeah, oftentimes I don't even really know what I'm about to say, and I just sort of follow the words. And that was one of the things I really loved about especially spoken word, because there's absolutely no structure and you can just like follow it.
Yeah.
But similarly, I love about music that you can like find a couple of things that mean something that work really well and just repeat it a couple times and you have a song. But yeah, as far as like my queer identity and everything, I think that I have been inspired from jump to just make music for a reason. I never want to make art to show anybody how good I am at anything. That doesn't inspire me. That makes me want to crawl into a hole. But if I can connect to a greater purpose and like see that it means something to someone, then it's a lot easier for me to step out there. And, you know, I know that I didn't have representation that looked like me or talked like me or existed in the spaces that I exist in. So I'm just trying to do my best to honestly draw more people like me to me selfishly. I want to keep finding my community for the rest of my life, whether those are queer people or straight people or whatever, just people who resonate with and empathize with the human experience. That's what art is about for me. So I try to write from my heart and be courageous and sincere, even if what I'm feeling is hateful and sinister, because that's real too.
That's beautiful and super important, and really, really awesome to me that I don't know. I feel like music at the end of the day makes communities. I feel like music brings people together, and it's just really, really nice to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really nice when it works, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
lucky
It's
that,
great.
that my songs have made it into the hands of people who can feel something, because I know somebody makes a great song every day. And like, especially with the internet now, music pops up everywhere all the time. So shout out to my fans who really care, who really pay attention. Keep following, okay? Forever. Don't leave me.
And to kind of get more into your latest music, which I have really, really loved, especially Boys. Love that song.
Thank you.
What has really gone into writing your latest singles, and how are you kind of looking at putting out an album anytime soon of any sorts, or an EP?
I had hoped to gather everything into an EP, but I actually feel like I still have a little more writing to do.
Yeah.
What happened with these last songs was sort of like, honestly, I wrote them kind of closely to when I wrote the other ones. I've just been really careful about dosing them out so that people are following and listening when they come out. You know, I want to be really intentional about it, which who knows if that's the right or wrong thing to do. It's like also an option to just like, I don't think I can curse here.
No, you can curse, yeah.
Shit out music
Very
every
good.
day.
Very good. Nicely done.
Thank you. It's also maybe like a winning answer, but I have so far just been really careful about it. But I wrote Boys 3 years ago, and I wrote Could Be Good. I did write Could Be Good at the top of the pandemic, though, on my first Zoom session.
On your first Zoom session? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I think those ones are really shaped by changing my angle from like, I want to vibe and I want to vibe out on what my voice is, and more just like thinking about the structure of songs and trying to write really great copyright.
Yeah.
But then songs like Confident are like, for me, really important. Like the video to that song is really important, because I felt like there was like, I was suddenly writing all these sangery songs where I was like, I have to sang, and I also like want to dance.
Yeah,
so I wrote Confident to like be able to dance and stuff, and
Cool.
and to get back to that side of the art and the like sassier side of my personality.
Love that. And you know, as a last message to any of your fans, do you have anything coming up? Anything they should be excited for from you that's coming soon?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking out all the way right now, but one exciting thing is I'm in a J-Lo movie.
What?
Called Marry Me that I'm so excited is going to be coming out.
That's awesome.
That's right. And what else? I will be releasing more music, and also eventually an EP that will be my debut EP, and it will be exactly what I want it to be. So I'm taking my time. I think that's it. I can't remember. I'm doing some shows. I'm doing some shows
Love
in
that.
New York,
Yes.
LA, touring, et cetera, et cetera.
Ooh, yeah.
Mostly just
That's
follow
exciting.
the Instagram to find out what's coming next.
Love that. Well, Kat, wanted to thank you so much for performing tonight. You did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Got us all moving in the studio over here.
You guys are a vibe. It's honestly such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And hope to have you back sometime soon. And for everybody else out there in the chat, thanks for watching. We're going to go to a quick ad break for about 2 minutes, but we'll be back to close up the whole weekend, huh? See you soon.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.